The Mystery of YETI. Source: Geographical, Indian Express. By VisualGK.com. Yeti is a mythical creature, believed to exist in the Himalayan ranges, in Nepal and Tibet. The existence of the creature, which has been an issue of debate since the last century, again resurfaced, when the Indian Army claimed it had discovered fresh mysterious footprints of Yeti, during an expedition. Measuring 32 inches by 15 inches, the footprints were found near Mount Makalu Base Camp, by the Army's Mountaineering Expedition Team, in April 2019. Stories of large, hairy ape-like creatures, that walk upright like a human, inhabiting remote parts of the Himalaya, have been around for a long time. A creature or spirit, that roughly matches up with our modern idea of the Yeti, was a part of the pre-Buddhist mythology, of several Himalayan peoples. Once Buddhism became the dominant religion, in so much of the Himalaya and Tibet, the idea of the Yeti was carried over, into Buddhist mythology, and there are a number of tales of Yetis, helping important religious figures. The term Yeti comes from the Nepali dictionary, and means abominable snowman. It is also called Mate in the Tibetan folklore. According to urban legends, Yeti is a two-legged, white, shaggy, ape-like animal, and is described to be 10 to 20 feet tall. The first account of Yeti dates back to 1921, when British explorer Charles Howard Berry found the footsteps of Yeti near Lake Polar Pass, in the Himalayas. Berry stated that he found the imprints of a human-like creature, and later got to know from the locals about the legend of a race of wild, hairy men, living in the wildest and most inaccessible mountains. In the part of Nepal, a story is commonly told about the accomplished Buddhist master, Lama Sangha Dorje, who lived around 600 years ago, and spent much of his time meditating in remote caves. It's said that to aid him in his meditation, he had an assistant, who brought him food and water from a nearby river. That assistant was a Yeti. One day, as the Yeti crossed over a fold in the upper valley, carrying water, it was killed by a rock fall. When Lama Sangha Dorje finished meditating, he returned down the valley, bringing the hand and scalp of the Yeti with him. Those Yeti relics can still be seen today, in a monastery, in the village of Pangbake. According to those who live in Yeti country, there are three different kinds of Yeti. The Rangchimbombo is the Yeti you have to fear the least. Living in the dense forests that predominate at about 3,000 to 3,500 meters, it's only about a meter to a meter and a half tall, has a coat of rust-red fur, and isn't generally considered a threat to people. The next kind of Yeti, the Chuti, is more formidable, with a big male said to stand over 2 meters tall. The third is the scariest of all. The dark-haired Nilamo can be more than 2.5 meters tall, and has a decidedly aggressive manner. The three different Yeti species described all sound suspiciously like a type of ape. So, have any large apes ever existed that might have led to the myth of the Yeti? The answer is yes, and no. In 1935, a German-Dutch paleontologist was rummaging about in a Chinese apothecary shop, when he came across the oversized molar of an ape that was unknown to science. Later named Gigantopithecus blacki, this creature, which died out some 350,000 years ago, was a huge, bulky ape, with rusty red hair, that stood over 3 meters high. Could a relict population still exist in the Himalaya? Unfortunately, that turned out to be unlikely, because while many G. blacki bones have been discovered in southeastern China, none have ever been found in the vicinity of the Himalaya. But, while G. blacki never lived in the Himalaya, there is an ape that definitely did live in the forests of the eastern Himalaya. Today, orangutans live only in parts of Borneo and Sumatra. But 10,000 years ago, they ranged much more extensively across Asia, including right up into the Himalayan foothills. However, there's another type of creature, that's very much alive, lives in the Himalaya, and is known to attack people and yaks. Over the years, many different hair samples and relics from Yetis, including those in the monastery in Pangbosh, have been discovered. But, after scientific analysis, almost all have turned out to come not from a Yeti, nor even from a giant ape. Instead, they've invariably come from a bear. So, is the Yeti nothing more than a rare species of bear, living in the remotest folds of the Himalaya? Quite possibly. After all, bears do occasionally stand on their hind legs, and they will attack people. Please like, share and subscribe. VisualGK.com